Here's my process for painting this dragon on this bag. It was my first time ever painting on an actual purse, so I was really nervous about it. And I started out by sketching out a couple designs in Procreate to give them some options of what they wanted to choose. And then they finally decided with this one. So I just overlaid it over a photo of the purse so they could see like what it would look like on the purse. And they decided to go with a purple with a yellow hair style. So to prep the surface for vinyl or leather, you need to use the Angelus Professional Leather Preparer and Deglazer on the bag. And I first tested it on a little spot underneath because I wanted to see if it was going to take off the little patterns on the purse. And it did just a little bit when I really scrubbed. So you always want to test on a little inconspicuous area. So I got ready to paint the picture on it, and it wasn't laying flat, so I wanted to clamp it just on the bottom, like while I'm painting the initial painting. And I put a t-shirt around it to protect it from the clamps, and then I just clamped it gently down at the bottom. So I printed out and cut out the dragon the size that I wanted it on the purse. I didn't want to put marks on the purse to do an outline of it, so this was the best way that I thought of at the time. But looking back on it, looks, I don't know, it just looks kind of dumb. So if anybody else could say how they use to put a outline of their drawings on their purses when they paint them, that would be great, because this, I don't know, makes no sense. So I printed the dragon out and I cut him in so he's a little bit smaller. So I went around and put dots around with a paint marker to be able to have an outline instead of just doing like a full outline. So then I took painter's tape and went around that entire dotted outline that I did, because I wanted to take that deglazer and go over and remove all those little white spots, because it's not like a leather paint, so I didn't know whether it would chip off or not. So I put the tape around so I would know the boundaries of where I need to keep the dragon inside. And honestly, there has to be a better way to do this, but I just didn't know at the time. And that's also how I knew where I needed to place the deglazer at, because I didn't want to go too far outside, because it did kind of take some of the L's and V's and like the decals off. So I wanted to keep it where I was painting only. So whenever I'm painting on something, I'm usually going to do a base of white, because white's the most opaque color, and I haven't used these paints before, these leather paints, so I'm not sure how transparent and things they'll be. So I'm going to go in with a base of white first, and that way I'm not trying to cover up, the LVs or the brown with like any of the other colors that might be a little bit transparent. And I got a dish out to pour the paint out on, but I ended up just using the cap of the paint to paint with. And I did make a few mistakes when I was sketching it out, but I was able to fix them in the end. And after I get done sketching it out, I'm just going to go fill it in and let it dry overnight. Afterward, I went in with a Q-tip and the deglazer to try to get the lines that I messed up on and just erase them. So it's the next day, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to do another coat of white on it. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go around the edges and start refining some of the details. So the next day I'm going to go in with actual colors. And the colors I'm using for this project are going to be black, white, turquoise, magenta, and yellow. Now I'm going to go in with straight magenta and just start sketching out the actual details of the dragon. And I'm using magenta because I'm going to like paint over a lot of it, but I want to have like pops of bright colors coming through it. So that's why I'm just going to do this first sketch in magenta. And I went ahead and let that dry another day. And now I'm going to go in with the purple that's going to be the bulk of its body. And I just use magenta and the turquoise to mix together to make that color. And I'm painting, like filling in the body area, but I'm still kind of leaving some of the magenta exposed. Now I'm going to go in for his mane. I guess it's hair or mane. And I'm using yellow, but I mixed in just a tiny bit of magenta and a tiny bit of the turquoise in to kind of mute it a little bit. And for his belly scales, I'm just adding a little bit of white to that mixture and a little bit more yellow. Now I'm just going to start adding a little bit of dimension to the body. So I'm going in with that same purple color that I mixed before, and I just added a little bit of white this time, and I'm painting it kind of just around the middle areas to kind of add a little bit of like highlighting and show some roundness to his body. Then I'm just adding it to some of the wrinkles on his face and things. Then I went in with straight black and just started doing some outlines and more definition in black. And I had also previously added some yellow, straight yellow highlights to the hair and the belly scales. So I let that dry for about 2 days after I finished, and then I got prepared to seal it. I'm using the Angelus 4-coat satin to seal it, and the instructions say to shake it up first, and then I'm going to just pour it into a cup and use a small brush to apply it. It got some bubbles in it as I was painting it on, and I was kind of concerned at first, but they all eventually popped without me having to do anything to them. I let it sit for a day after sealing it and checked it. It worked out perfect, no cracking, no nothing. It turned out great, so I'm excited to use this paint again. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.